Colloidal silver has been touted as a great way to boost your immune system, treat some infections, and ward off the flu when taken as an oral supplement or nasal spray. But are these benefits legit, or is colloidal silver unsafe?
In today's episode, we talk through the science behind colloidal silver and tell you whether we think taking it is worth it or not. Let's dive in.
Carolyn, today's episode is going to be great. Everybody that is listening can probably hear I am under the weather.
And you have been a while. You just can't totally...
I can't seem to fully kick it. And then I think I'm over it, and I burn the candle at both ends, and it comes back and bites me in the butt.
Mm-hmm.
So I recently started taking colloidal silver. Now, here's my disclaimer. I had read about it before I started taking it. Not as in-depth as I did for today's episode, but I had read enough to know that it was very likely going to be a placebo effect if I took it. But I am all about a placebo effect.
Oh, yeah.
I do
Especially
not...
when you have like a bad cold, I'll take any kind of placebo effect.
I do not care. So...
Well, I've actually bought colloidal silver before to actually give to my kids.
Yeah.
But I kind of forgot about it. You know, all the supplements. And then I wanted to read up on it a little but yeah, I was very intrigued by it. And I heard it was refreshed in my mind because towards the beginning of like flu and cold season, I saw some influencer post something about, okay, the supplements I have for flu and cold season, and colloidal silver was one. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I posted about it the first time I got sick on Instagram, and I got some interesting feedback, mostly from people being like, oh my gosh, I love colloidal silver, or who recommended it to you, like that sort of thing. So we had a friend who was like, wait, what's colloidal silver? And we were like, all right, here we go. Worth it or not, colloidal silver. So that is what we are going to offer listeners today.
Okay. So why are we talking about it? It's because you will see a lot of claims out there.
So many.
It can do a lot of things. Boost the immune system, treat bacterial and fungal infections, improve skin health, maybe prevent like cold or flu, that type of thing. So it seems very appealing.
Yes.
Like just as maybe a little extra preventive measure during cold and flu season.
Yes.
And what I do love about it, one of the few good qualities, I think, in the end, is that I do love silver was used for decades as antiseptics and to kill infections.
Yes.
Before we had antibiotics.
Yes.
So I like that potential there.
Well, and I believe that is probably where it was all born from. And we're not going to talk about it today, but I did see it, mostly because it's neither one of our expertise, but I did see that, it is used in like wound care and burns potentially.
Yes.
And it can be effective. I don't know how. That is not my area of expertise, but the point is that between it being used before modern antibiotics and for wounds, we have a lot of reasoning as to why it might be of interest right now.
Can I just say something just to intrigue people a little, and then I'll tell them what happened at the end. If you like to watch cult documentaries like I do, I went through a phase. Me and my daughter did.
Yes, you did.
We needed a little break from Dateline. And you have watched one called Love Has Won about Mother God and her followers. This is something she took. And you want to know what the end result was.
Yeah.
So I'll share that at the end.
Okay. All right. I like it. You're keeping them on the hook. All right. So what is colloidal silver? So colloidal silver is...
is it just like if you have a silver bracelet or something? Is it like if you melted that down, like your silver compounds?
I mean, in a way, it's the same type of silver that is used in those, like
it's a metal
in a precious metal, like piece of jewelry or whatever. But a colloidal silver is a supplement that has tiny, tiny, tiny bits of silver floating in a liquid. They call it nanoparticles.
Okay.
Which I feel like people are familiar with. Like we talk about microplastics, right? So like we're talking teeny tiny little particles.
Yeah.
And the thing with it when it's a colloid, and we'll talk about this a little bit more later, is that it is insoluble when it's suspended in another substance. So that's why they add it to the
silver's
water.
insoluble, which is why they have to put it in a suspension.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
It is like the supplemental versions that we have seen is in a liquid that you take in a very small dose and you hold it under your tongue, like it's a sublingual application.
Oh.
And you hold it under your tongue for like 30 seconds or whatever the bottle tells you to do.
I think I bought a nasal spray.
And then I was going to say, and then there's a nasal spray, which I actually didn't even know a nasal spray existed until you told me about
maybe
it.
like nasal wipes where you just,
oh, yeah.
You know.
I know.
Wipe
do
it
you
in
think I
there
could
and
drop
throw it
a
away?
Q-tip into my thing and just rub it up in my nose? Maybe that'll be more effective, actually, at getting rid of this stupid cold. Anyway, so that is what colloidal silver is. And it very much falls under the surveillance, I'm using that in air quotes, of the supplement industry.
Yeah.
Which we will also get into that later.
But I will say, I mean, just from a medical perspective, it sounds like it was used for years, like to treat like infections and that kind of thing.
Yes.
And I think I've heard of it maybe distantly being used to treat like burns, like topical too.
Yes. And it had like that's the part that I haven't read up on, but I believe it's more successful in that regard. Now, I will say it was my acupuncturist who recommended this.
See, it was a naturopath and then another kind of an integrative, board-certified doctor, but an integrative board-certified doctor that also, they both recommended it to me.
And so then I do not know where, a friend of mine also uses it. I do not know where her recommendation came from, but I do know that she sees a holistic medicine physician. So maybe. But anyway, I know like my acupuncturist is very much into Eastern medicine. Mm-hmm. And he does a lot of studying on that, and he tends to be quite knowledgeable. So when he recommended it, I was like, oh, I would try this.
Yeah.
You know.
Because he's done great things for you. Like that acupuncture has changed your health.
Yes.
So I kind of, like I would almost do whatever he said.
Yes. And he's also the one that I've talked at length about, like the importance of supplementing like high dose D3 combined with K2, which we know from a research standpoint.
You've researched some of the things he's recommending.
Yes.
Prior to him telling you that. So you know a lot of his stuff that he's recommended is legit. So why not just believe the colloidal silver recommendation?
Silver. Yes.
Got it.
So again, I did a little research on colloidal silver before I started taking it and was all in on the like, this is likely going to be a placebo effect experience and I don't care. Yeah. I'm going to try it anyway.
I'm with you.
So then when we started talking about it for this episode, I started looking at the research. Here's the problem with the research. There is very, very little research.
There is.
Very little. It's predominantly in rats and mice, which a lot of research starts that way, but then it progresses into like human trials. There's also a lot that's like in test tubes and petri dishes.
Yeah. I think we found one human trial.
We found one. Now, there could be more out there, but I'm not going to lie. I've been working on this for a couple days and one.
Which, okay, let me just say this. Big picture. That seems really weird to me that we don't have more research considering how much it was used.
I agree.
In medicine, early medicine.
Yep.
Before we had antibiotics. And we're going to talk about some of the side effects because there's some negatives. But even if something has some negative side effects, you still usually see something like this, a supplement like this, studied at least.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So it's just even that there's not more animal studies is weird to me.
I agree.
You know?
I agree. There's just not a lot of research. And of the research that, like I found one study that looked at pairing colloidal silver or silver nanoparticles with antibiotics to treat drug-resistant bacteria. Mm-hmm. And interestingly, the research was suggesting like a positive synergistic potential effect.
Yeah.
But it was literally in like test tubes or petri dishes.
Yeah.
So, that's not. That doesn't get you
automatically
anywhere.
Translate to humans.
Right. And so it looks promising, right? And then there were studies in rats that also looked promising.
Did you look side note, did you look into any veterinary research? Because I did see something when I was just Googling colloidal silver. It was like, give it to your dogs. Now, look, listeners, do not give it to your dogs. But I saw something. I wonder if there's veterinary research.
That's a good question. I feel like I saw something about it being used in animals early on in my research, but kind of was like, that's not relevant to me, and moved on.
Let me repeat. Do not give it to your pets.
Do not.
Do not.
Do not. Okay, so let's talk about the study, though. The one study that you found of this oral application.
Yeah, so this is the one human study, and it was only 22 people.
So very small.
What I liked, though, is it was all people who suffer from chronic sinus infections.
Yes.
Just always a new one popping up.
Yes.
And all of these people had also already had sinus surgery.
Yes.
So they'd had sinus surgery to try to fix things, but they still had chronic sinus infections or issues.
I also like that it was a single-blinded study. So by single-blinded, the participants were blinded to it. The healthcare providers were not. Double-blinded is gold standard. But so the participants did not know, which is important. And then at one point, a small group of the controls crossed over and got the other treatment. So I can explain that a little bit better.
You just confused me. Okay. But we got two groups.
We have two groups.
Okay. So the control group, half of them the control group got a 10 to 14 day course of oral antibiotics. And these were what they call culture directed, meaning they took some of the nasal discharge and cultured it to see what specific bacteria it was so that they could pinpoint exactly what antibiotic they thought they needed. So it's not just like we're throwing some...
Right. You're not throwing like a random Z-pack.
We're not throwing a Z-pack. At it. Okay.
So they got...
and then they did saline rinses
and then they did a saline rinse.
Okay.
They did not know, though, that it was just a saline rinse or if it had colloidal silver in it.
Okay. Now, the other group, the experimental group, got no antibiotics.
Nope.
They just did colloidal silver nasal rinses twice a day, correct?
So both groups, twice a day nasal rinses. Control group also got, like, specified oral antibiotics. At the end of the study, neither group was significantly improved, but also there was no statistical significance between the two groups. So what I mean by that is like not that many folks were fully recovered, but also it did not show that the oral antibiotic group did any better than colloidal silver or the other way around, that colloidal silver did any better as oral antibiotic.
In the colloidal silver group, only one of the 11 eradicated it, was negative.
Yes.
In the antibiotic group, only two eradicated the issue.
Yes.
So there's no statistical significance.
So the crossover component, which I always think is cool about a research study, because you get to see how the same person responds in both groups. So they took 5 people that failed the antibiotics, meaning like it didn't work for them. They took 5 of them and they crossed them over and gave them the colloidal silver rinse and gave them the full treatment. And 1 out of those 5 successfully eradicated using colloidal silver.
Okay.
Which I thought was interesting. So way, way, way too small, number 1, to say that this is effective.
And not the best results. I mean, not great results for antibiotics, but not convincing to go out and buy some.
No.
Instead of taking the antibiotics.
Number 2, this was in the spray, the nasal spray, and the form of colloidal silver that I feel like, well, the one that I've been taking and also the one that I feel like a lot of people have been talking about that's really grown in popularity, especially since COVID, is taking the oral suspension of it. And that is what my acupuncturist recommended, was the oral suspension.
Okay.
So I saw nothing in humans in oral suspension at all.
So is it like a syrup, or this is the thing you put under your tongue?
It's a water. It's a liquid. It literally is the consistency of water.
Oh, okay.
But it has a very interesting metallic taste to it, as it should. And you only take a very small dose, 1 to 2 times a day, and that's it. So, again, did not find anything on humans and oral, like taking colloidal silver orally. But
it's popular.
It's very popular, and especially since COVID, like I saw an uptick there were some newer studies since COVID.
Yeah.
The concern around colloidal silver is that or really any type of silver-based supplement, right, is that the potential to take or reach a toxic level is pretty decent.
And cause a form of poisoning.
Yes, exactly. So the thing is that when you take it, especially orally or even through your nose, it gets into your system, circulates through your system, and it deposits in all of your organs. Now, your body can clear it out through the liver and the kidneys, but particularly in the form of colloidal silver, it's very bioavailable to your body. So it goes into your system and it disperses and it can deposit everywhere, which is part of when we talk about how it shows up, like the potential toxicity of it. It's obvious that it's truly like absorbed very well systemically. So one of the biggest concerns around taking it is that your body can't clear it as fast as you can.
You could easily take in too much.
You can easily take in too much.
My other thought was, being someone who has a MTHFR variant, that decreases my detox capacity of my body.
Right. Good point.
So I would think people like that would be at even greater risk for reaching toxic levels.
Which would make sense. Yes, absolutely. So at very high levels, I saw like you could have some like seizure experience, but the general concern is this thing called argyria. And that is where you get this irreversible blue-gray skin coloring. So, like, you could Smurf yourself.
Well, we were looking at a picture of this guy.
Oh, my gosh.
He looks like Papa Smurf. He has white hair and everything. Papa Smurf, but almost like a gray
version.
Papa Smurf.
Yeah, not that vibrant blue, like a grayish blue version of it. And, again, like I said, it is irreversible.
You stay blue.
You stay that way.
I thought it was temporary.
No, you stay that way. Everything I've read said it is irreversible. So the amount, well, let me back up for a minute. So because of this potential for toxicity and the fact that colloidal silver is very bioavailable to your body, the EPA and the WHO have basically said this is not a safe substance. We do not recommend it. So
our FDA too.
Yes, our government has all of these substances that they call generally recognized as safe, or GRAS, which we've talked about this before. A lot of supplements fall into that category. This one, in 1999, the FDA put out a statement that was like, no, this is not safe. It was a final rule establishing that all over-the-counter drug products containing colloidal silver ingredients or silver salts are not generally recognized as safe and effective and are misbranded. WHO says that silver is not an essential nutrient. It does not recognize, the organization does not recognize any health benefits from ingesting it. And and says that Argyria is the main documented risk.
Well, let me say, if I think there were some others, that's the main risk, but wasn't there like liver failure, maybe some neurological issues, seizures?
Yes.
Argyria was the main one.
Argyria was the main one, but it can, yes, you can have problems with your liver, you can have problems with your kidney, you can have some neurological stuff. And really that's probably because, well, not the neurological part, but because the liver and the kidneys are the two organs that clear this from your system.
Yeah.
So when you have too much, and your body can't clear it fast enough, you're going to have a problem.
Yeah. Well, that's very concerning. In fact, if you Google it, it's going to say this is not, there is no safe dosage, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But there are supplements on the market now. And what is really concerning to me about the supplements, and probably why I would never take it, even if I was desperate for a placebo effect, is what you were telling me. It can come in two different forms, and a lot of supplements, you don't know what form you're getting it in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's remind listeners, the supplement industry is a little bit of the Wild West. There's not enough oversight, and as a result, you really have to rely on the manufacturer to be giving you what they say they're giving you. So there was a study that was done. It was published in 2020, so it was probably conducted like right around when COVID hit. And that was part of the reason why colloidal silver kind of had like a little bit of a resurgence, was because of COVID. Mm-hmm. And what these researchers did was they ordered 14 different brands off of Amazon of colloidal silver, and they tested them. And what they found when they tested them is what they were testing was like, did this product say it contained colloidal silver? Because it can also contain, sometimes you might get, and it might not be clear what you're getting, but that you could be getting ionic silver.
Which is just kind of a different form.
It's just a different form. Ionic silver does not necessarily have a greater potential for toxicity. Part of the reason why colloidal silver, we've talked about it being more bioavailable to your body, but what it supposedly does, from what I've read, is that it actually has the ability to penetrate into the cells. So like at the cellular level, it can go in, disrupt the cell and kill it. That is why it is potentially beneficial, right?
Yeah.
So
with bacteria and viruses.
Yes. Yeah. But ionic silver is not necessarily small enough to do that, but colloidal silver is.
Okay.
So really, when this study was looking at like, do these products, these supplements contain what they actually contain, it was also saying like, is it a form that is even beneficial? Potentially. Let's go with potentially beneficial. Like, is it a form that's even potentially beneficial, or is it a form that is really not going to do much for you because it's ionic silver? So they tested these 14 different Amazon-ordered supplements, or 14 different brands. And what they found is only 2 of the 14, maybe three, tested positive for containing colloidal silver.
The one that potentially has some benefits.
Yes. But otherwise, the presence of silver was found in all of the samples, but it wasn't necessarily colloidal silver that was found in all of them. So,
yeah, and I pulled up several that you could buy like at Publix and Target and stuff, and most of them do not specify what form the silver is in.
Correct. The other thing, too, is that they give you some of them give you a concentration, but it's not clear about the concentration versus how much you get in the dosage. So I did do a little math, because the EPA basically says that you need to that the oral reference dose that you don't want to go above, the EPA says, is 0.005 milligrams per kilogram per day. So for someone about your size and my size, that is 290 micrograms per day. Now,
do you know how much you were taking?
The supplement that I have at home breaks out. It shows you the concentration, and then it shows you what you get in your serving, and you get 150 micrograms in a serving.
So were you taking 2 servings a day?
I was taking 2 servings a day, so I was hitting 300.
And 290 was the max, right?
Was the max.
Interesting. Yes. Okay, so I have to ask, are you going to continue taking it after we diving into this? Because I don't want you to turn blue.
I am not. This is the first time that we have done a worth it or not, and I have said not worth it.
Yeah, I agree. Not worth it.
Too risky, not worth it. And part of it is the toxicity potential, right? That is probably the least of my concerns, because I feel like now I know enough to know how to stay under, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't plan to use it on a daily basis. I was using it like during times of illness. The main reason is that I would need to do a lot more research to find out if the brand I'm using or another brand that I want to buy actually has colloidal silver in it versus ionic silver. And then the third reason, which we have not talked about yet, is that there are some contraindications for taking it. So some of the medications that they tell you you should not take colloidal silver, I happen to be taking.
Oh.
Yes. So there are like some antibiotics and some antibiotics can be problematic, and some medications for thyroid deficiencies can be problematic.
Interesting.
And there is actually a decent percentage of the population that is regularly taking antibiotics, and there's a good chunk of us who are regularly taking thyroid medication. Yeah. So I do think that really, I don't need my thyroid medication to go, haywire.
And I don't think there's benefits that outweigh even taking the risk.
Yeah, not yet. And I will say, I do think, and you and I were talking about this before we started recording, is that I do think that part of the reason why there's so little research is because, 25, 26, 27 years ago, FDA basically said this is not generally recognized as safe. So why would people continue to do research on it? Mm-hmm. They wouldn't. Even if they wanted to, what are the chances that they're going to get the funding for it?
Yeah.
So, I do think that it is one of those where I can't believe that we've done that this is the first worth it or not where I have said not worth it as an oral supplement.
I agree. I very much agree. Okay, do you want to hear what happened to Mother God?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Mother God was quite interesting, and convincing, I guess, because she got lots of followers. But Mother God claimed that in the past she had been like Cleopatra, Harriet Tubman, Marilyn Monroe. But she also claimed that she had like this spiritual council that guided her, and Robin Williams was on that spiritual council that she had to meet with him regularly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, Mother God, even if it doesn't sound like it already, went off the deep end a little.
Don't say.
Yeah. And so Mother God starts taking huge amounts of colloidal silver. She's also, I think, abusing alcohol, and I don't think she's eating much. So Mother God dies, and all the followers just hang out at her house. And so she's in her bed all blue and gray. Then they do say her death was from colloidal silver poisoning, alcohol abuse, and anorexia.
I mean, she was really taxing the you-know-what out of her liver between the alcohol and the colloidal silver.
Yes. But what I remember is the followers don't do anything with her body for, I think, like months. And so
Stop.
They put Christmas lights on her body, and she mummifies.
No. I'm going to have to watch this documentary now. And I'm not a documentary person.
That's all I can remember. But just that in itself. And then at some point, they put the mummy with the Christmas lights on it in the back of a station wagon. I don't know what they did with it.
Oh, that sounds terrible. Oh.
So.
All right.
Don't take colloidal silver.
Apparently not. Goodness.
Well, thank you for all this research.
Oh, you're welcome. This was a really interesting topic.
Yeah.
And thank you to our friend Tiffany, who was curious enough that it inspired us to dig deeper.
Well, and this is a great example of something that seems like, low risk to try. What does it hurt? It keeps me from getting a cold, But when you dig into it, you're like,
Yeah, no. You know what? I'm going to stick to some of my other remedies. All right. Until next week.
Thank you so much for joining us for the Happy Eating Podcast. I'm Brierley Horton.
And I'm Carolyn Williams. If you liked this week's episode, then don't forget to rate and leave us a review on iTunes. And be sure to hit the subscribe button so you'll never miss a new episode.
We can't wait to have you back at our table next week for a brand new episode. Bye.
The contents discussed in the Happy Eating Podcast, such as advice, studies, text, graphics, images, and other material discussed or presented on the site or podcast, are for informational purposes only. Content is not intended to be a substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your mental health professional or other qualified health providers with any questions you may have regarding your condition. Never disregard professional advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard on the Happy Eating Podcast.
If you are in crisis or think you may have an emergency, call your doctor or 911 immediately. If you're having suicidal thoughts, call 1-800-273-TALK, that's 8255, to talk to a skilled trained counselor at the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. If you are located outside the United States, call your local emergency line immediately.